Hey there, how you doing? It's me, Jonathan Royle, known to some of you as Alex William Smith. In any event, my website is www.magicalguru.com. That's magicalguru.com. This is the full-length, final video review of How to Control Minds by Peter Turner as released through Illusionist. Today is the 21st of March 2022, and I started releasing little video reviews a couple of days ago, but this is it. This is all the little video reviews that I'd already released and all the new stuff. And having now watched all of the How to Control Minds video set, as well as all of the jam sessions and all of the stuff, it's amazing how many times I'm mentioned, referred to in the set. Or if it's not me that Pete Turner's referring to, wow, it's amazing how many coincidences there are. Such as, for example, if you were to go on Facebook, or perhaps even Google, and search for review of How to Control Minds set by Peter Turner Illusionist, and narrow that search down to August 2021, you'd find a page where, based on the Kickstarter page alone, I gave my thoughts, and amongst that I said certain things were dangerous, and I said certain things were not invented by Peter, they were actually predated by many years. And then, having watched the set, I know that Peter mentions this and says that, claims that I'm wrong about what I stated back then. Well, as you'll see in this video, I further elaborate and mention why I was correct based on the advert alone back in August 2021, and why I'm even more certain I'm correct now that I've watched the entire set. And having watched the entire set, I still say, as I'll say numerous times during this, that in order to be 100% legal, lawful, licensed, insured where necessary, and above all else safe, abiding by all duty of care, health and safety regulations and laws, and also best practice to ensure the safety of volunteers, emotionally, physically, psychologically, and in every other respect, you would do well to study the transparency template, details at the link above or below this video, because they've certainly not covered those subject matters to any acceptable degree in the How to Control Mindset. And, well, yeah, if you just proceeded as it says on How to Control Minds, the chances are you would invalidate your insurance, because normal insurance for magicians and mentalists does not cover hypnosis, whether it's pseudo or real. Because suggestion, certainly in England at least, and some other places in the world, comes under the same regulations. Anyway, here's the full video review. Sorry, spoiler alert, I'm going to point out errors, I'm going to point out things that are factually incorrect along the way. I want to make it very clear up front. I've tagged Pete Turner when I released this video, so I'm not hiding. I'm out there. Why he didn't mention my name, as you'll see, I'm referred to numerous times in the video set. And yet he doesn't mention me by name. I wonder why. Is that because of the inaccuracies that are also in there? Decide for yourself. In any event, in 2011, Pete Turner did come and see me do a stage hypnosis show. In any event, he's seen video footage of me doing other shows since. He's seen tons of shows by my student, Chris Lee. And he's learned stuff from Chris Lee that ultimately Chris learned from me. And he's asked me advice over the years. I've got hundreds and hundreds of screenshots on file where Pete Turner's asking me advice on not just hypnosis, but also about the best way of getting lecture work as a magician and mentalist, how to release new products. I helped him get his first products onto the market successfully after his first one was released through Kent and Nepper. I then helped him independently release stuff and a whole bunch of other things that seem to have been forgotten about. I want to make it clear here, this is not a personal attack on Pete Turner. This is only me making the facts clear about the How to Control Mindset. And because the stuff in there that people went searching, they'd find it was me that posted, or that it was me that did certain things, and it would give the impression that I'm incorrect or a liar or misinformed, when the truth is, as you'll see in this video, I am correct, was correct, and am still correct. And I've always told the truth, and I'm still telling the truth. So yeah, and I want to make it clear that despite me not being able to recommend the How to Control Mindset, I must, for the reasons explained here in this video review, and any clips that are in this are used under fair usage, literary review, copyright laws and exemptions, which allow me to use seconds of clips here and there as long as I'm then making constructive review or critical comment on them or setting the record straight about truth and accuracy. All of those things happen during this video, and I will more than happily defend such in any court of law, because the facts are the facts and speak for themselves. That aside, I'll finish by saying that Pete Turner's set with Illusionist, How to Read Minds, is, as my review of that's all over social media and my blog states, the best value for money and most comprehensive training set for beginners in mentalism and mind reading, also including stuff up to advanced professional standard, that I would recommend it to anyone, beginner or advanced level, the How to Read Mindset. But this review is about How to Control Minds by Peter Turner and Illusionist. As just previously explained, I didn't really want to have to do this, but because some comments easily lead back to the person being talked about being me, and therefore people listening to Pete Turner could get the impression that I don't know what I'm talking about, or the impression that allegedly I may be lying or saying something that's untruthful. I've got hundreds of screenshots on file, okay, from, as you can see, Peter Turner's Facebook messaging me. The first message was the 15th of August 2011, where it said, "Thanks for the Hypnotic and DVD. Had a great night and hope you had a good one, Pete." It's referring to the fact that on the 14th of August 2011, as shown at the link below or above this video, Pete attended with one of my students, Chris Lee, who I originally taught, who then later went on teaching Pete some stuff. So basically learning via Chris what I taught Chris. That's the start of it, okay? Obviously, I'm not going to show you the hundreds and hundreds of screenshots I've got on file. I just want you to see some so you get an idea. Pete saying it was a great night. I shall see you soon and we'll discuss some business. Again, him saying my short guys and dolls was great. Asking me about using the Hypnotic, asking for advice. This is all again in August 2011. Well, and then it goes on over a period of, some of these are actually from weeks and months down the line, but saying clearly there, I don't have any background in hypnosis, by the way. That was in August 2011. Oh, and you'll notice that I asked for his postal address, and as such I sent NLP and hypnotherapy training DVDs to him, as well as I did send transparency template that was filmed back in 2010, the year before Pete and me connected at the Guys' Doll Show. Here he is asking me about the drop back induction. That was later in, that wasn't in August, but it was later in 2011, reminding me that I did it at Guys and Dolls, asking me stuff. And you'll notice that I point out the fully explained and taught the DVDs I sent you. That's because I sent him the transparency template and my Secrets of Stage Hypnosis stuff. And then he's asking me, could he seen another DVD I've got on sale of pseudo hypnosis stuff if I'll send him one. Then he mentions a project he did with Chris Lee, my student, that was going to be released called the A to Z of Hypnosis. And I warn him that the cover looks like the Crown copyright A to Z map design. And he points out he's going to send me a copy, which he does. That actually never ended up on sale. It got taken off sale, taken down from library.com, because I read it and noticed there was loads of dangerous material in there that went against duty of care and health and safety stuff. I pointed it out. Once it was pointed out, both Chris Lee got Pete Turner to remove it from sale because I pointed out about the dangers of what was in there. He's openly saying that he doesn't think I'll appreciate much of what's inside because I've got years of knowledge. Although he thinks I like what he's done with the "You Could Be the Star of Tonight" show saying. Well, I taught Chris it in the first place. He says, yeah, he was saying, acknowledging that he knows that I taught Chris Lee. In the book, which is not on sale because it got taken off sale, the A to Z of Stage Hypnosis, because I made sure it was taken off sale at the time. In the book, I used the star of the show thing as a suggestion, touch each of them unbeknown to the audience, namely Jameis touching on hypnosis, which is arguably based on my "to a bad subjects" ploy, and then say the person who felt me touch them is the star of tonight's show. If they notice anyone trying to outshine them, they'll do better, etc., etc. Praising their ego, I mention. Conversation continues, and I point out I actually taught that on my "There's No Such Thing as Hypnosis" DVDs released back in 2000. Same set as I teach my version of Banachek's touches, which is where the idea came from. As well as also the set that originally taught my "to a bad subjects" ploy. So Pete Turner knew back in 2011 all about this, that he seems to have forgotten by the time of making How to Control Mindset. He's talking about stage whispers, and I'm talking about ego and all this. Many months later, he asked me about more stuff. This is about the history of hypnosis. And well, I could go on, but the point is, these are just a few of the many hundreds of screenshots I've got on file, which could be forensically proven to be true in a court of law if required. I'm showing them here purely as proof. Proof that what I'm claiming later in this video review of the How to Control Mindset is indeed true. Because having now watched it in its entirety and seen some of the comments Pete Turner's made on the set, anyone who went and searched what he talks about on Facebook or Google would find a post by me and would potentially come to the conclusion that what I said was untrue or a lie, when in fact it's completely factually true and correct for the reasons outlined herein. Get ready for another whopping lie or another demonstration of lack of knowledge of how to do hypnosis properly.
Seeing them do, and then use the try principle to replicate it. If I sat here and went, okay, you know, you could stick someone's foot to the floor, you could do this, you could do... The problem that happens is that you walk out of this explanation section and then you've got 3 little things that you can do. Whereas if you go away and you watch Hypnotist and you watch fun things, that, you know, even if it's films, this is what's truly brilliant about the try principle, is that there's a level in actual hypnosis of things that a spectator will do before they refuse to do it anymore. Yeah.
You've clearly not learned hypnosis properly then. If you know hypnosis properly and you go about it in the right manner, you can make anyone say or do anything you want, even things that contradict the morals and the values. And I discuss this more on the page of my website. Go to magicalguru.com, magicalguru.com. Click on Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis and watch my documentary on that. I cover it in the transparency template as well, to a degree. You can get people to do it. That's why in the 90s I was known as Europe's and arguably the world's most outrageous hypnotist, and some shows dubbed me the stripnotist, the pornographic stage hypnotist. I was getting people to do things that contradicted the morals and the values all the bloody time back then. I don't now, because I've grown up, and what I do now, and well, actually all I've ever done was always within the law. But anyway.
For example, you know, for some people, if you're asking them to say the name, the push of that, like let's say it were embarrassing for them, they wouldn't do it. But with the try principle, because...
Well, actually, then you need to learn the ways to get around that and make it so that they're not embarrassed about doing things, which is taught again on the transparency template. So I can only assume you stopped watching at about disc 2 or 3 of the 5 or 6 disc set that I sent you in 2011, cause or that you've forgotten stuff that was on disc 1, 2 and 3 as well. Because with the greatest of respect, some of the things you're saying, you said to me in 2011 via email, which I've got the screenshots on file if you ever deny having said it. You said at that time you knew little or if anything about hypnosis. You asked me about who invented the drop-back induction. You commented on the show, the guys as dolls that you come to observe and learn from. You commented about how Chris Lee, my student's a great guy, and you're also going to be learning stuff off him, who I originally taught. You've either not paid attention or you've forgotten stuff, because what you're saying is nonsense. Oh dear, they find it all amusing.
Because it looks exactly like hypnosis. Even hypnotists in the know walk away from watching it thinking it's hypnosis, and they always, instead of going, oh, you know, that.
The only thing the hypnotist in the know might not be aware of is the fact that you pre-showed them and rehearsed them into how to react to the word try, that trying is not doing, doing is not trying. But the truth is, any competent stage hypnotist can get the exact same result and actually could rehearse the person blatantly out in the open in front of people without it having any negative effect, due to the fact that an audience expects a hypnotist to tell somebody, this is what you do, and then the person does it. So you could actually rehearse them, if you like, condition them in front of the audience to the point where you get them to the point where when you say try, they don't lift up the pen because you've got them used to, and you would argue, Pete, the waking state, which is still suggested there's no such thing as hypnosis. You've missed the point. Go back, study the transparency template again, go and get books by Emil Coué on auto-suggestion, do some actual study, start to learn what hypnosis actually really is, and you'll realise it is hypnosis.
Or executed well, but it's just, they always go, it was just hypnosis, and you think, that's exactly what I wanted. I've succeeded in my goal. Right. Because it's emulated, it's so perfect that even a hypnotist can't tell it.
Yeah. Well, they can. The only thing they may not know is that you rehearsed them in advance. But the fact is, it's hypnosis. And it's arguably, you giving people the impression it's not, is you're belittling the potential dangers of using these techniques in the entertainment context. The issues which are fully addressed in the transparency template, where it covers duty of care, health and safety, and it covers hours it takes to cover duty of care and health and safety properly for suggestion or hypnosis or pseudo-hypnosis even to be used in entertainment. Anything less, and frankly, you're borderline incompetent. The chances are people will be breaking the law in many places in the world if they don't study what's on the transparency template and take notice of it. At the very least, they'll be invalidating their insurance because, you know, normal insurance for magicians and mentalists does not cover for suggestion or hypnosis. You've got to have a policy that clearly states it covers for hypnosis and suggestion and things that look like that or people could react to in that kind of manner. This is even more laughable. Bearing in mind, if you look at the link below this video, you'll see links to a Facebook post I made in August 2021. I'm guessing before this was filmed, because I'm pretty certain that it's me and my post that's being referred to in this comment.
And just recently, you know, somebody posted on Facebook a post about the dangers of the How to Control Minds kit. And I thought, there's no dangers in it. Like, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, there is. You even admit before you teach the drop-back induction that it's dangerous and keep telling people not to use this. You're only including it really for information purposes. You know, and there's other points where you mention about you've got to be careful of certain things and you won't take responsibility if people go using them. That's because they're dangerous. And even the things you don't mention that about are potentially dangerous if the people come to believe they're hypnotised. The moment they believe they are, which you may not even be aware of as the performer, then arguably they are psychologically affected. And if that's not handled correctly, it can cause psychological damage for the reasons explained on the transparency template set, which is why people would be wise to study that, understand about abreactions, negative psychological reactions that can be invisible so that you can deal with them to make sure that they don't affect physical things that can go wrong, the environment. If people look at that post, everything I say does apply, and I've now watched the set. Back in August 2021, I was only going off the Illusionist advert when I pointed those things out.
You know, the try principle were invented by this person. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't, because they've watched it on the trailer, I'm thinking, you don't know what it is, like,
Yes, I do. And you definitely can't say I don't now, because I watched the bloody thing, and I still say it was invented by MLQA. And in fact, in some of his books on auto-suggestion, he talks about the difference between doing and trying to educate the reader into the difference between doing and trying as part of the process to get them to use the phraseology correctly and react to it correctly. Arguably, he's pre-showing them in the book. And I talk about it in Transparency Template and loads of my other stuff.
This is, you know...
I mean, there's no danger in, it's just conversation at the end of the day, isn't it? It's nothing.
It's just conversation. You know what? Conversation, saying the wrong word to the wrong person, you might not know what their triggers are psychologically, what's happened in their life. Saying the wrong word in conversation is potentially dangerous, can have a negative psychological impact on people. But when you're a performer, you've got duty of care laws to abide by, health and safety laws to abide by, and a whole bunch of other stuff like that, which are covered in depth on the transparency template. So far, at no point on this, and I will correct it if it comes before the end of the set, but so far there's been no mention on the fact that these techniques, even if they're pseudo-hypnotic techniques, even if arguably they were, anything that's intended to look like suggestion or to manipulate somebody's suggestibility, which these things are, or, you know, at the very least, they're meant to look like it, but are covered by the 1952 Hypnotism Act, 1989 Government Guidelines, 1996 Home Office Updated Model Conditions, and elements of the Licensing Act 2003 in England and Scotland and Wales. And there's other places in the world where there's guidance that applies to hypnosis and suggestion, where doing these things, whether it be on the street or in licensed premises, without the correct permission in place, would at the very least mean that you've invalidated your public liability insurance, but at the other end of the scale could mean that you're actually breaking laws. So, but here they are laughing about things.
So what, it's dangerous for me to say the word try to any of my friends? It doesn't make any sense, does it? I just started.
You missed the point. It's the context and the psychological effect of the context and what it can have on the person, which is fully explained in the Transparency Template DVDs, which clearly Pete Turner's ignored, despite watching them and sending me messages saying how much he was enjoying the DVDs and learning from them back in 2011. I think he's got memory loss issues, clearly.
Funny, but yeah, so because it looks exactly like hypnosis.
Because it is, for the reasons explained on Transparency Template. This is again from the Try Principle jam session of How to Control Minds. This is a really deep, controversial one because it... just, you'll see what I mean and hear what I mean in a minute.
You never get a perfect clone of anything in life. Everything that's an imitation is always, I feel, a little bit of a letdown in some way. Not in, you know, all the time, but the beautiful thing about this principle is it's one of the anomalies, because when you say try, that's the statement used in hypnosis. If you put the try principle and you film the try principle and then you filmed a piece of hypnosis, the language would be the exact same both times.
Yeah.
And even people that know...
Well, yeah, it would be due to the fact that MLQA's law of reversed effort, what resist, persist, the word try, implying that something will be difficult or impossible to do. Although Pete Turner is saying it teaches a way of pre-showing people so that nobody knows that you spoke to them before the show, or whisper in their ear a secret hypnotic command that you have to whisper in their ear because you don't want it to affect anybody else, apparently is the excuse for doing so, where basically you tell the volunteer, look, If you were to lift a pen up, I told you to lift a pen up, for example, you would be able to and you just lift it up. If I said try to, then obviously you would try and you put effort into your fingers, into your hand. It'd look as though you were trying to lift it, but you wouldn't actually be able to lift it. Because if you try to do something, you can't do it. You're not doing it. Trying is not doing. Which is what the implication of the word try is when you use it correctly in the manner that MLQA teaches, or I actually teach in depth on the transparency template DVDs. Did I mention I sent them to Pete in 2011? And I've got screenshots on file where he thanks me for them and he's learning loads from them, and then he's asking me about the drop back induction and other things and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, oh yeah, I did mention that. The fact is, even if you do rehearse somebody in advance, then you say to them, okay, try and lift the pen, and then they maybe lift it because you're doing pre-show, or they lift it but nobody can hear what you're saying in their ear and it just looks like they lift it up, and then you say, no, 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 that means you're doing, not trying. So do it again, or we'll repeat it, but this time when I say try, try. Don't do it. Doing is not trying. Trying is not doing. Trying is not being able to do it. And rehearsing them so that when you say try, they react as slow and look like they're trying to pick the pen up off the palm of your hand or their hand, but obviously they don't. So that they're rehearsed so that whenever you say try in future, they will not do the thing. You know what I mean? So you say try to stand up and they won't stand up. They'll act as though they're trying to stand up. The fact is there's no difference between that and using the try principle as intended by MLQA and as used by stage hypnotists for years, described in books on mesmerism and hypnosis going back hundreds of years, but taught in the transparency template DVDs, than there is doing it this way, frankly. So it is hypnosis, which makes this comment laughable.
Hypnosis cannot... I've had it, you know, when I film stuff and I've put it out on video, you know, because if you go back to, if you type in Peter Turner Vlog 3 on YouTube, I was using this effect a long time ago. It might have been, you know, or a lot bigger back then, but I was using that a long time ago. And if you look in the comments, you've got hypnotists saying, oh yeah, it's just hypnosis. And
it is for the reasons I've argued. Just because you rehearse them before with an element of consciousness that you're telling them to do. The fact is, fixation of attention on one thing to the exclusion of other things, telling somebody to do something and then doing it unquestionably on command is, by definition, hypnosis, because hypnosis does not exist. It's purely suggestion. It exists only in the mind of the believer, and used correctly, the person will end up coming to believe that they were hypnotised or reacting to suggestion. I don't know why it's such a big surprise to you.
Thinking, well, instead of deleting those comments or, you know, trying to hide them, I'll leave them there, because it suggests to everybody else it's hypnosis. Yeah. And I thought there was something really interesting about the fact that these hypnotists think that they just let everybody know that it's just hypnosis. Yes. And it's not even hypnosis, you know. And
yes, it is. As explained on Transparency Template. Okay, so this is from the jam session of How to Control Minds about the try principle. Just a quick little clip.
You know, so they're seeing that moment, the suggestion, because they can't hear what you're saying, they're seeing that moment the suggestion hits, and it looks like at that point that there's something amazing happening. Now, one thing that I've found, and it's really strange, because maybe it's because I've changed.
No, it's not that strange. It's because of the order, do or do not. There is no try. The word try is one of the most powerful suggestions. It implies that something won't be possible, and people come to believe it, and so their reality is such. And what Pete seems to have missed with the try principle in terms of the explanations we're getting so far is, well, the fact that it's actual MLQA's law of reversed effort, and in NLP they call it what resists persists. You get more of what you focus on and such not. That's explained fully in the transparency template, by the way, the DVDs I sent to Pete in 2011 after he attended my shows, Guys and Dolls, and when he communicated thanking for them and saying that you know, he knew little if anything about hypnosis, is that it's because it is genuine suggestion. And even using the try principle in the manner that Pete teaches it, which is to pre-show people and get them used to the idea of the difference between doing something or trying something, which means then you're putting effort in but getting no response, so it looks like you can't lift a pen, for example, and rehearsing them so they know that whenever you say try in future, they are to not do something but to act as low, act as if, react as if, all things that are covered almost as if, by the way, which is the key to something that Mr. Lemon says earlier on in the How to Control Mindset, where he makes reference to Anthony Jacquin's AI, Automatic Imagination Model, the forerunner to which is my It's Almost As If technique, which is taught in training materials that Anthony Jacquin has definitely studied of mine before he ever released his Automatic Imagination Model. In the same way as I mentioned earlier that, you know, Luke Germain studied stuff of mine in the past. Certainly when he was consulting for Darren and stuff. Objective Productions had tons of my DVDs as well. And on there was covered my To a Bad Subjects ploy, which is the forerunner to Luke's touching on hypnosis principle.
My perception on it is that when I'm doing the try principle, a lot of the time, I mean, just watch the jiu-jitsu performance. A lot of the time what happens is it becomes like the hand stick. Excuse me. It becomes like the hand stick, and it's almost like the suggestion bites, and all of a sudden then they, in their head, believe that they can't lift the pen. I've seen it a few times, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, because of the fact it's Emile Coué's law of reversed effort and all the other reasons that I explained fully on the transparency template, which I think you must have forgotten about the contents. You see that you've either got memory loss or God knows. Now for an interesting admission by Pete Turner on the Try Principle Jam session of How to Control Minds.
And that's the perception that I have when I go in, and that's why my hit rate's a lot more successful. Because if I go in there and think, oh, I've got to make this work, or I'm worried about making it work, there's a slight lack in confidence, and the chances of it working are a lot less when you're giving suggestion.
Well said. Sounds like a quote direct from the transparency template, where I point out hypnosis does not exist as such. It's not a special state. It exists only in the mind of the believer. The suggestion, correctly expressed, is hypnosis that people could come to believe, because as hypnotists you're merely playing the part of what the volunteer's perception and expectations of what a hypnotist are. Yeah, when you know hypnosis doesn't exist, you don't have to be worried about getting them under, because there's no such thing as getting them under. There's only will they be compliant or non-compliant, and if you use the techniques in Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed, then wow, on the transparency template, they will be compliant. You know, both things that you've seen, Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed and transparency template.
And that's the exact same with the try principle. I used to go into it and go, this is a method to replicate hypnosis. That's the way that I saw it. When my perception...
Well, it is actually hypnosis for the reasons I explained earlier and explained on transparency template.
Changed, and I went into it thinking, I'm using this now to move into suggestion, like the hand stick. I noticed that the spectators just started to react differently, and it sounds really daft.
Yeah, because you were so relaxed about it, you're giving out the confidence, conviction and certainty that things will work as you desire, and even if they didn't, it doesn't matter, because you can never look like it's gone wrong. So you can have total conviction, faith, confidence, certainty and credibility projected to the volunteer, who picks up on that in a non-verbal and verbal manner, and that creates au rapport. It creates a perception and a belief in the client that you believe it will work, you expect it to work, that you're the experienced professional who knows what's going on, and the fact that you know that it'll work and it's worked on other people means it'll work on them.
But I'm a big believer, like, people laugh at me for saying it, I'm a big believer. If I'm going to do a psychological force, for example, I go through the motions of,
Well, anyway, then it goes on to other stuff that's irrelevant here. Suffice to say, he's effectively kind of contradicting himself from earlier. He knows. Of course he knows. He studied transparency template and Hellman's biggest secret revealed. He knows actually what he's doing is hypnosis. He's just trying to cover his tracks, thinking that that covers the tracks of the fact that, you know, in certain places of the world, England being one of them, that the use of suggestion in any form for entertainment purposes is actually covered by the 1952 Hypnotism Act, and that your insurance would be invalidated if you don't have the right permissions in place. Or there's a way around it. There is a way around it, don't worry. And that is to use the loopholes in the law, so you're operating within the law, legally, lawfully, and in insured manner, in a way that's only explained properly on the transparency template DVDs. Either Pete has got the most ridiculously bad memory, or, well, anyway, just listen to this.
Do the Dunning plot, right? And unless I had everybody banging and slapping and clapping their feet, and I was stood in front of them, there were no way that I could apply the Dunning plot. So I thought to myself, well, how can I do this? You know, like, what's the way that I can do that? And so I came up with a ruse. Now, I don't know if this ruse has ever been used before. I'm going to assume that at some point it must have been, because it's such an obvious ruse. But
why don't you just come out and say that Jonathan Royle teaches this in his books on numerous DVD sets, and that in 2011 Jonathan Royle kindly sent me training DVDs, and at that time I'd openly admitted to him I knew little if anything about hypnosis, but then I started learning from Chris Lee, who was taught by Jonathan Royle, and also studying the DVDs that Jonathan Royle kindly gave me. And amongst all that stuff, Jonathan Royle actually mentions this ploy.
Allowed me to be able to do the Dunning ploy in front of everybody's face, right on stage in front of everybody. So what I'd do is at home, I'd have a little disc maker, and so this is when...
Well, anyway, quite simply, go on my website, magicalguru.com, click on the free stuff, download the 3 free hypnosis training manuals, and in manual number 1, I fully explain exactly how to record a CD so it appears to be the background music for hypnotising people, but over it you have your voice giving suggestions, thus meaning you can turn off your microphone and speak directly to the volunteers. So the audience think you're speaking through the microphone because they can hear your voice that's actually on the soundtrack, but in actual fact it's your voice is on the recording, meaning that you can give other suggestions or direct commands and instructions, call them what you will, to the people on stage. And that's also explained in numerous of my DVDs, including the transparency template. See the link above or below this video. This is from one of the jam sessions, the jam session for Robin Hood on the How to Control Minds kit. And just listen to this a sec.
Yeah, vocals, you know, yeah, and foley sounds in, and that's used on television all the time. But whilst on the subject of the Dunning ploy, I did make a note of something, because, you know, I'm going to start to move on to the Bob thing for close-up. But just to round off the stage point, if you are a stage performer, or you're a hypnotist and you're watching this thinking maybe there's something that I've missed that I can implement into my own hypnotic performances, I actually studied, I've studied hypnosis since I was about 12 years old. So I don't know if in the explanations I mentioned how I got into hypnosis. I'm not going to get into that now. But I covered for a hypnotist for a number of years. And what would happen is I would work in these little working men's clubs. And I'd go...
I'd love to know who that hypnotist was. Because if, let's say, for example, it was possibly that you did the odd gig that was got for you by Chris Lee, which my student, who I taught in the early 90s, then... that wouldn't have been until, about 12 years ago at the absolute maximum, probably more like 11 years ago, because that's the sort of time scale when you first got to know Chris. At time scale when in 2011 you came along to my show with Chris, as per the other videos at the link below this video. And yeah, in 2011, that's right. After you'd been to that show, I sent you DVDs that you could study, and I've got messages on file where you say at that moment you know little, if anything, about hypnosis. So clearly your study wasn't that thorough. Could you openly admit to me in messages you know little, if anything, about hypnosis on the 15th of August 2011 when you start sending me messages after the show that you came to see at Guys and Dolls after I've then sent you DVDs to start studying. Oh, this is interesting.
And this is the line that I've never seen anybody else use, but I think it's such an important line, and it's this. I say, as it's locked, give me a nod when you feel it's stuck and it's not going to move. Because once you nod now, you've committed to the fact that it's locked.
You're in. Yeah.
Right? If they don't move, if they don't nod, then I know it's not going to work.
All I'm going to say is Almond's biggest secret revealed. Read it. And yes, in 2016, Pete Turner did see a copy of it, but it's also taught the technique in many of my DVDs predating that, as is much other stuff. So on the induction section, Pete starts teaching the drop back induction, and he makes out that he's come up with his own ways of doing it, but I'm sorry, as screenshots I've got on file show, after he attended my show in 2011 at Guys' Dolls, which if we just go here, I want you to see something, okay? Let's have a look. I want you to see this woman here. You see that t-shirt? I'm going to go in a bit clearer there. Okay, her shirt there. It's important you notice that because that's the same there. The reason being is because that is a photograph taken at the venue where this is. So just watch this for a split second. There's already somebody, sadly, they didn't get caught on camera, but I'm saying feet together, hands by your side. And I'm doing the drop back induction. Unfortunately, you can't see it on somebody off camera. But as you can see, I let the audience hear what's being said. Oh, and you can see, and down like a sack of shit. Very impressive. Pete Turner's sat over that direction, as the photographic evidence will show, learning and observing from this.
Drifting down, sinking down, that's fantastic. I do. Just stand up for more.
Again, note what I'm wearing, note what she is. Unfortunately, she is off camera, but the fact is you can hear what I'm saying to her.
You can stand stiff or rigid until I come to you, but keep looking at that light. Everyone else keeps staring at the light. I'm going to count backwards from 10 down to 1.
I'm just going to fast forward ever so slightly because I knocked them out.
Unless I say otherwise. Everyone keeping their eyes tightly closed at all times unless I say otherwise. I'm going to one final time count rapidly backwards from 10 down to 1. Gentlemen here. I know, take a nice deep breath in. And
you don't see it because she's off screen, but I did a drop back on her. There's just before I do the drop back on her, as you can see. There she is out of it on the floor. And then there's some photos from the same venue, Guys' Dolls, from August the 14th, 2011. It's proven in the other review videos on this page. That's me getting various people to be the world's greatest male strippers. This is the second half of the show where I've changed out my suit. And yes, indeed, people end up down to, oh look, there's somebody in their boxer shorts. The reason I mention this is because on the How to Control Mindset, Peter Turner relates a tale and he said he won't mention the name of the hypnotist and that he saw a hypnotist get people to get the kit off and somebody was left with their boxer shorts on, and afterwards that person was going mad and was upset about being body positive and why did the friends let them do it. The truth of the matter is that when I wake all these people up at the end of the show, I tell them they'll wonder what the bloody hell they've been doing. They'll be really shocked about it. They'll be really naffed off with the friends, although they will not become violent. They're just acting to the last suggestion, but I tell them that the very moment that they go to the toilet or go outside the building, that final suggestion will also be completely cancelled out and they'll feel better in every possible way than they did before and they'll not be bothered about it and they'll feel really fantastic. So I slightly missed out some elements of what actually went on there, unfortunately. But there again, he does seem to have a bad memory because he doesn't seem to recall that the photograph there was taken by either my wife or my bodyguard, Big Steve, or both of them actually took photographs that look very, very similar. That was used in the Dice Man documentary. And as you can see there, that's during the show with Pete watching on, and again during the show with Pete watching on. The point is that after this show, which took place on the 14th of August 2011, the following day, the 15th of August, Pete emailed me, and I've got the screenshots on file, and there was numerous communications over days, weeks and months, and I sent him DVDs teaching him how to do the drop back induction, other inductions, other hypnosis stuff, and I've got on file also, of course, the emails where he's thanking me for this, and where he said that up to that point he knew little, if anything, about hypnosis. So it seems that some of his memory about times might be wrong in how to control minds. How strange. Oh, this is hilarious. At least he's told us that the drop back induction's potentially dangerous, and it is potentially dangerous, but this is hilarious. Watch. Audio muted for this demonstration as the other spectators would not hear this in performance. Why? What have you got to hide? They hear it when I do a show, quite often over the mic, and in different shows. I've been using this technique now for what? Since 1990. Numerous different ways of doing it. And I teach numerous different ways of doing it in the transparency template. Details are on the page above or below this video, including ways that, as long as you do them the way it's taught, are much safer than what you just saw, and much safer than what Pete Turner teaches. You're about to hear Peter Turner say he's never seen anyone use this technique. Yet, I use it, and pretty damn certain I used it as Guys as Dolls, but if not, I've used it in other shows that I sent copies of to Pete in the past. And it's taught on DVDs that I sent to Pete in 2011 after he'd attended at my Guys and Dolls show, which is where the picture of him with Chris Lee in the audience was taken, that appears in Dice Man. And, well...
I'd use the touch from touching on Hoy on each of the spectators. But instead of going into...
Remember, in the advert for Auman's Biggest Secret Revealed, it also says that you'll learn the To a Bad Subjects ploy, which is taught on Transparency Template. Loads of others. Loads of my products it's taught on. To a Bad Subjects ploy, which arguably is the forerunner to touching on hypnosis and touching on Hoy technique. And, well...
Like, oh, the person that just felt me touch the finger of a shape, the person who touched... What I do is that same routine, touching on Hoy practically. But I'd say, I'd openly touch one person, and I'd go, the person that just felt me touch them, you're going to be the star of tonight's show. If you ever see anybody trying to upstage you, you'll do your best to be twice as good as them, and twice as loud and twice as proud as them. So
basically, it's the To a Bad Subjects ploy to the nth degree. But that's explained in Transparency Template and tons of my other products. There's nothing new here, so to speak. So, I started doing stage hypnosis performances, entertainment hypnosis, in 1990 when I was 15 years of age. I'd already been doing hypnotherapy from 1989 at the age of 14. And I've been in show business from the age of 3 and a bit as Flop the Clown on Gandhi's Circus. In any event, 1990, to clarify, according to this, Pete Turner was born on the 26th of the 10th, 87, meaning that in 1990, he was, by October 1990, he was 3 years old. Whereas I was 15 years old and I was already doing this in shows.
This is an imaginary gun. It just works like a kind of hypnotic gun.
Sleep, relax, drifting down, sinking down.
Hypnotic gun. I only mention this because induction section of how to control minds.
Inductions of all time. And normally when you've hypnotised somebody properly, and we're talking about real hypnosis, you could do the PK gun. So you say, if I'm going to point a gun at you, and when I pull the trigger, you're going to fall into a deep sleep. Watch. And now you can stand 6 feet away and go, boom, and the person will just drop down, right? And I think that looks great.
Wonder where he got the idea from. I mean, it could have been that he got it from observing Chris Lee do it, because he does it as well. But there again, I taught Chris Lee in the very early 90s. And as indeed, arguably, provably by links you can find on my page, I've taught more of the successful working stage hypnotists and street hypnotists and hypnosis to magicians and mentalists in the world than any living trainer today. All very odd. Anyway, there's more of a review at the link above or below this video.
The guy called Pete Power, which were an Australian hypnotist, really brilliant hypnotist. And, there were Dean St. James, which were, again...
No, there was Martin St. James, and there was Peter Powers, and Peter Powers is British. He just happens to now live in Australia, but simple things, simple Google search would tell you. This was apparently 10 years ago.
That paragraph down had that one trigger word. And so I've been reading this incredible book. Like, you take it and start reading it. So now this person would read it to themselves, and when they hit that trigger word, they'd fall asleep inside the book. And I'd say, well, isn't that boring? You know what I mean? And I'd have a bit of a joke, and I'd get a laugh. But I'd also, like, set up little things. Like, let's say there's one person on the end here. Like, I mean, we're going back 10 years. I've learned a lot. I've been a lot more respectful as a person now than I was 10 years ago. But I used to love this.
So 10 years ago, it's currently 20th of March 2022. 10 years ago would be 20th of March 2012. But we have to bear in mind that this was made, I believe, in 2021. So we're going back 10 years from 2021, let's say the middle of 2021, to go back to, take 10 years off, would be 2011. So about 2010, 2011. Interestingly, if you look at the blog page link below here, 2011 is when the photograph was taken of Pete with Chris Lee at my short Guys as Dolls, where he'd come to observe. And shortly after that, I've got screenshots on file where he categorically tells me he knows little, if anything, about hypnosis. And I send him training DVDs to learn from and such. So all seems a bit... You might have got your timeline wrong there, possibly, I think. This is worthy of taking note of. I'll tell you why. Because, I'd say, what? Over a decade, well, around a decade ago, at a time when Pete Turner openly admitted to me in messages that he knew little, if anything, about hypnosis, which is interesting given that he claims somewhere on How to Control Minds that he was doing, standing in for a hypnotist at a time when apparently he knew nothing about hypnosis. But anyway, that's by the by. This is most interesting because in stuff that I sent to Peter Turner around a decade ago, and I've got screenshots on file, him thanking me for sending the DVDs and stuff, and him asking me questions and me teaching him stuff, I tell this story.
About the Hypnosis Stooge. And so if you don't know the story of the Hypnosis Stooge, let me tell you what it is. So a hypnotist would go to a pub gig like a working man's club.
Incidentally, it's on the transparency template that's mentioned on the blog link above or below this video. This story is on there.
Or whatever. And they do these suggestibility tests. And he found that nobody were suggestible. So he kept one of the people on stage and he said, just close your eyes for me. So the person closed their eyes and he let in and whispered. He said, listen, mate, he goes, the show's not working. I'll give you 50 quid if you play along. I'll give you 50 quid at the end if you do what I say. Nod if you understand and you agree. So the guy nods. So he now gets this guy doing all manner of things, you know, clucking like a chicken, barking like a dog, kissing a broom, everybody's laughing.
It's also on my video set, Dual Reality Hypnosis. I mention it in There's No Such Thing as Hypnosis. And it's something that allegedly traces back. This was apparently something that Robert Halpin did at Glasgow Pavilion. At least that's the tale that was related to me, and related a couple of live events that Andrew Newton did that I organised years ago. And as I say, I've shared it on stuff, including on DVDs that I sent to Peter around a decade ago. I'd have to check the screenshots of when he messaged me thanking them, but you get the idea.
Having a good night. And at the end of the show, he tells the guy to close his eyes. So the guy closes his eyes and he goes, "In a moment, I'm going to ask you to wake up. And you're going to be convinced that hypnosis is not real. And that I offered you £50 to play along and pretend all night. So when I count from 1 to 3, open your eyes and you'll be convinced I offered you £50. 1, 2, 3. The guy opens his eyes and goes, "You did? You offered me 50 quid. And of course now the entire audience laugh because they're like, wow, like it's worked. And this guy can't get the 50 quid and he's in a double bind, right?
As I say, salt and transparency template, my dual reality hypnosis set, stuff that I've had out for well over a couple of decades. Yeah, what can I say? Just check out the link above or below this video. At least then you'll also learn how to do things legally, lawfully, licensed, insured and safe. It's all explained on the video that's a link above or below this. So this is just a real quick video. It's a short to the sweet, direct to the point video review of How to Control Minds by Peter Turner. It's a great set, it's full of great material, but you can spend less money and get far more information, including the information that is essentially the source material for a massive amount of what Pete Turner teaches in the set, namely My Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed book, and the videos in there of my There's No Such Thing as Hypnosis clips and Hypnotrix clips, together with my Ghost Kiss and most of all my Transparency Template Stage and Street Hypnosis training set. And then you will actually have more reviews because you'll also actually know about all the laws, the legal licensing stuff. Any clips in here, and there are a couple of them of about 30 seconds long each, are included from How to Control Minds under fair usage copyright laws and literary review purposes copyright exemption laws. Because this is a review of How to Control Minds. The short version is, it's excellently produced, it's really well produced, it's full of great content, but you can get pretty much all that content and tons of other stuff besides that isn't taught in the set by following the advice in this video and the information that's above or below it. And it'll also save you money. My honest review of How to Control Minds kit by Peter Turner, released through illusionist.com. The nutshell thing is, as I've already said elsewhere on a blog, which I'll mention in a minute, is that there are performances on the sales video, which this is the sales page on the Illusionist. And there are points where stuff is being demonstrated in what is frankly a dangerous manner. People stood on the edges of pavements where they could fall into the road if they reacted unexpectedly. People surrounded too much furniture nearby when dropbacks are going to be done. Things that frankly should be covered by health and safety. In far more, this shouldn't be on the promotional videos because it's showing it dangerously. Also, the total cost is £115.33. Now you get a couple of physical items in the box, but ultimately it's video training, and everything you can learn on that video training you can get taught for far cheaper by buying just a few little things. In 2016, I was asked to contribute to this, Hypno Effects by Peter Turner, and hence I posted about it on social media. And I contributed a chapter of Pure Gold, which very few people actually ended up getting in their PDF, because the PDF that ended up going out on a major scale didn't have fit in. But it is now all included in the thing I call Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed.
I first met Pete Turner roughly about 11 years ago. I was doing a small venue. Pete came in as one of the audience members, and we said we'd be good friends. If anybody's ever been a good friend of mine, which has been for many, many years, but people all over the world regard Pete Turner as the best in the world, which if you see his routines, you'll understand exactly why.
Interesting one, look. Recognise the seat. You're about to see a photograph I took used in the documentary Dice Man. More hypnotic madness taking place on August the 14th, 2011. And slightly clearer picture there of my student Chris Lee watching on, and Pete Turner observing and learning from me. Again from 2011, that's my back. There's some people on stage reacting who are under hypnosis, and indeed there is Chris Lee and Pete Turner watching on. Notice the post, August 23rd, 2011. That's just after August the 14th, 2011. When Peter Turner came along with my student, who I taught hypnosis to originally, Chris Lee, who's then passed on information to Pete Turner, who also learned tons of stuff off me over the years, because I sent him well over a decade ago training stuff that he requested, and at a time when he said he knew very little, if anything, about hypnosis, and he learned tons from that. And you can see that picture, and I took that picture at the Guys and Dolls show, and there it is in Dice Man, the documentary. Boom, boom, same picture.
A good friend of mine, which has been for many, many years, but people all over the world regard Pete Turner as the best in the world, which if you see his routines, you'll understand exactly why.
And indeed, actually, it's been expanded on to make a full book called Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed and Other Cool Pseudo-Hypnotic Techniques. It does teach stuff that segues into genuine hypnosis as well. It's only $67 on their site, but if you go directly to my site, there will be a link with this post, and you'll be able to get 50% off by using the discount code WIZARD, W-I-Z-A-R-D. That's WIZARD, W-I-Z-A-R-D. And it teaches you how to, well, I'll just read you the advert. The late Dave Almond is a true legend in the world of hypnotherapy. Interestingly, he was also a comedy stage hypnotist for many years. Within his book Hypnotherapy, he hid in plain sight arguably the most powerful and useful technique that any hypnotist, or indeed any person wanting to look like a hypnotist, could ever use. The secret technique will enable you to stick people's hands to walls and make their foot become welded to the floor, whilst also enabling you to make people forget their names and a whole host of other amazing hypnotic feats. Imagine being able to snap your fingers and then a volunteer is unable to lift a deck of playing cards off the table, or they find that a coin becomes so hot that they're unable to hold on to it any longer. All of these things become incredibly easy when you have studied the contents of this unique training package. The truth is that this technique does not require any genuine hypnosis whatsoever. However, within this package you will learn how to use the secret in order to get people into genuine hypnotic trance states. As well as learning Almond's biggest secret, you will also be taught Royle's To a Bad Subject ploy, which is arguably the forerunner to Luke Germain's touching on hypnosis approach from his Premise and Premonition DVD set. You will learn Royle's It's Almost As If and IIC principles, which are arguably the forerunners to Anthony Jacquin's Automatic Imagination AI model. Combining these secrets together will enable you to seemingly to be able to hypnotise anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere, without ever possibly being seen to fail in any manner. These are the ultimate secrets of pseudo-hypnosis. Even those taking part will come to believe that they have genuinely been hypnotised. Also included are links to well over 6 hours of training videos. Included are those from the Secrets of Dual Reality Hypnosis set, which usually retails on its own at $47, and the videos from the Hypnotic Mind Control Made Easy set, which usually retail for $30. Also included are other videos that would usually cost you at least another $47. Just a few of the things you'll learn from these bonus videos, and these are just a few of the things, are how to mentally glue their hands to a tabletop so they are unable to lift them up until you tap the back of their hands, saying that the hands can now be lifted up once again. Weld their foot to the floor. They will find it impossible to lift their foot or leg off the ground until you remove your mental influence from them. Make their own name vanish into thin air. They will be unable to say it or remember it until you touch them on the chin and snap them out of their apparent trance state. Stick their eyelids together. They will be unable to open their own eyes until you allow them to do so. 2 different methods are taught and explained. Hypno-heat, the legendary hot foiling hand trick, is demonstrated and then taught and correctly explained. This is not suitable for minors as the hypnotist or as the volunteer. Magnetic fingers, discover how to apparently through pure suggestion make people's fingers draw together like magnets with them unable to resist. Locked hands, as the title suggests, you'll learn a truly no-fail way to lock people's hands together so they are unable to separate them until you tell them they are able to. Animated arm illusion, this Royle reveals how to apparently demonstrate telepathic mind control hypnosis on people so that with their eyes closed the audience witnesses that they only move their hand and arm up and down when you have non-verbally signalled to the audience what the volunteers will do. It looks like telepathic mind control to those who are watching. Reality changer. This is mega powerful. This is a technique whereby you can demonstrate that your verbal suggestions can change someone's view of reality in a few short minutes. Indeed, you then demonstrate in a manner that nobody can deny, including the volunteer assisting, that proves 100% that the person's reality has indeed changed following your suggestions. Best of all, there is no dual reality, and this, as taught, works perfectly each and every time. You're also going to get access to some mobile magic because you're supplied with an animated hypnotic spiral disc for use on your phone that will enable you to apparently place people into deep hypnotic trance states within seconds of meeting them. It will also enable you to perform, if you so desire, a complete act or show of comedy hypnosis stunts, routines and demonstrations without ever having any fear of failure. This is dual reality at its best, used in a manner where the person who is hypnotised can, and often truly does, end up sincerely believing that they have been hypnotised. You'll learn all about the Hypnotron. For the first time on video, Royle reveals his electronic speed hypnosis device that enables you to make people feel as though they are being hypnotised. Consequently, they are far more likely to become genuinely hypnotised. However, even if they don't, they will still say they felt like they were being hypnotised. This makes you appear to be a genuine hypnotist indeed. You'll learn all of the above. Along the way, you'll also gain insights in how to use these hypno tricks and mind control stunts. These are practically guaranteed to work every time. They can help you become a far more powerful and successful exponent of real hypnotism as well. Complete manual, and that's a tiny example of what you'll learn from the over 6 hours of video training that you also get access to. You'll learn more than enough routines and techniques to be able to perform a complete hypnotic style show for close-up, street, stage, cabaret, even theatre performances. And all it's going to cost you is $67 from Penguin Magic or all leading magic retailers. Or if you're lucky enough to find a discount link for my site, or you find it on my site, you can enter the discount code WIZARD, W-I-Z-A-R-D, to get 50% off. In fact, the real truth is it's going to cost you about £7 more. But the 3 items you need in order to learn absolutely everything you'd learn in How to Control Minds kit, well, pretty much everything hypnosis and suggestion wise, plus all the stuff that you don't learn in the How to Control Minds kit, namely how to perform legally, lawfully, in an ethical, licensed, insured and above all else safe manner, is taught in the Transparency Template by Jonathan Royle download package. That's $77, which at the current exchange rate is roughly £58 on the 17th of March 2022. As well as that, you're also going to want and need Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed, another cool pseudo-hypnotic stunts, which is $67, which is roughly £50. So that's £50 on that, plus 58 on the transparency template, which is £108. And then about 14 quid on Ghost Kiss, Psychokinetic Touches and Psychic PK Touches Outdone. Between that, where people can feel that you've touched them without you having apparently physically touched them, Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed, which you'll hear the advert to elsewhere in this short video, and the transparency template, which covers absolutely everything you need to know about stage hypnosis, street hypnotism, using suggestion, combining it with magic and mentalism, and above all else, all the stuff that no one else is teaching about the health and safety laws, duty of care laws, the fact that in England and some other places in the world you need a licence to perform this stuff legally, and the way that it's taught on how to control minds kit. I'm sorry, but without having a licence in place in advance, or without advertising your show or performance and clearly giving certain disclaimers and stuff that are taught on the transparency template, then you could actually be breaking the law and invalidating any insurance cover you may have in place. So you've got a choice. You can either spend £115.33 on illusionist.com, and then you may have shipping on top of that, I'm guessing. Or you can spend practically the same amount of money and get the transparency template download by Jonathan Royle from Penguin Magic and all good dealers, Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed and other cool pseudo-hypnotic techniques. And that's Saturn Magic site that's got Ghost Kiss, Psychic Kinetic Touches and Psychic PK Touches outdone by Jonathan Royle. And in total for the three, it will cost you about £122. Or you could go to my site. Okay, so the way you could really save money and learn everything you need to know to get started is to go to my website, www.magicalguru.com. When you get there, click on the bit that says shop. There it is. Click on shop. Let that page load and then go to where it says right at the top, selfie.com/Jonathan Royle. And that will just load in, but it will take you to my selfie store. The direct address, if you type it in, is that. You can see it there. HTTPS, the 2 dots, the 2 /, jonathanroyle.selfie.store. You go to there and you look for the transparency template online viewing version, which is $77. That covers all the health and safety, how to perform legally, lawfully, how to get licenses in places where you need a license to use this stuff, how to get the insurance, how to make sure you don't invalidate your insurance, how to hypnotize people genuinely, and also pseudo techniques. You also want to get a copy of Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed, another cool pseudo hypnotic techniques, which cost $67, and Ghost Kiss, Psychic Kinetic Touches and Psychic PK Touches Outdone. This is another book that also has video links in it and training. That's $20. In total, that comes to 164 United States dollars, which at today's exchange rate on the 17th of March 2022 is £124.62. But I promise you and guarantee you that even at that price, which is £9 more than that, although you probably have shipping on it, that you will learn far more from the 3 items I've just mentioned than you will from the How to Control Minds kit. Most importantly, you will learn from the transparency template how to do everything in a legal, lawful, licensed, where required, fully insured without invalidating your insurance, and above all else, safe manner, which is most important of all. But here's the thing. If you click on the buy now button, when you do, because remember 164 US dollars is 124.61, but if we were to half that, $164, it would become $82. So let's just put that in. If you were to invest just $82, that would be just £62.30 today, the 17th of March 2022, which would be, yep, you guessed it, that would actually be over £45 cheaper than getting the How to Control Minds kit, and you would learn all the health and safety stuff that you don't get with that. And all you have to do is when you click on the green Buy Now button, you go to the box that says have a coupon code, and you type in block capital letters WIZARD Wizard. You click apply, and it will knock the price in half to $38.50 on the transparency template. On Almond's Biggest Secret, if you click on the green Buy Now button, and in the coupon code but Wizard, click apply, and it reduces the price down to $33.50. And on the Ghost Kiss, you click green Buy Now button, and you put the discount code Wizard in there. And yes, lo and behold, that reduces it to half, meaning that you'll only pay a grand total for all three items of 82 United States dollars, which is currently £62.31, which is, let me do the maths, it's just short of £55 cheaper than getting the How to Control Mindset, which will not teach you even a fraction of what is included in the transparency template, which is genuine hypnosis techniques, as well as some pseudo, but more importantly covers all the health and safety, licensing and legal stuff. And then the Almond's Biggest Secret section covers all the techniques, well, you'll hear on the advert shortly, and the Ghost Kiss is various ways to have somebody feel like they've been touched without you apparently touching them. So, yeah. The short review is, yes, it's a great set, but it's full of techniques that you can learn from my materials in much the same manner as arguably Peter probably did by learning such techniques from observing Chris Lee, who I taught originally, and also, as you can see by the comments above or below this video, and also from the training materials that I sent to Peter Turner, around a decade, probably over a decade ago now, when he openly admitted to me that he knew little, if anything, about hypnosis, and I sent him tons of stuff, and he learned a whole bunch of stuff from me, and obviously came and observed my performance as well. Again, number 8, not back induction. Seriously? There's furniture around, they're so close to that table over there. Just, it's a health and safety nightmare. Don't do it like that. Transparency template will teach you how to do it safely, properly. You're going to do a touches routine, fine. But don't stand the person who's going to end up thinking that they've been touched without you touching them on the edge of a pavement near a road where traffic could come at any time. Another health and safety nightmare. These are the things that you learn in the transparency template. How not to do things like this where potential accidents could occur. I'm sorry, but this is just a health and safety nightmare. On a pavement, strangers, all right, they know him, the mates of his, but really, do not trust other people to catch somebody. You're asking for sooner or later somebody to slip, fall, hurt themselves, your insurance will be invalidated, and if you haven't got the proper licences or you're not doing it in the right manner anyway, you could have already been breaking the law doing it. And furniture around, don't do it. It's dangerous done that way. Far better if you're going to do it, a thing like that, somebody falling over, use the technique I teach and be the person who catches them. Take responsibility for it. So, I'm going to catch the person. It's my responsibility. I'm definitely covered by the insurance, but also I'm totally in control, and I'm not going to catch them, if you know what I mean.
Sorry about that. Just got me about rumination.
You let strangers catch people, and no, they might, for a laugh, not catch the mate. They certainly would in boozy places, in some places, and just don't do it. It's dangerous. And as a disclaimer on the ad on Illusionist, perform responsibly. Everything you see here is a potent mixture of mentalism, psychology, illusions and pseudo-hypnotic suggestion, all in the name of fun. There are no after effects and your participants are able to quit a demonstration whenever they please. With that said, please perform responsibly. That's actually bollocks for the reasons that are explained in the transparency template. People become psychologically obliged to continue once they've gone past a certain point, unless you categorically point out to them that they can leave the stage at any time, which is something you have to do under the 1952 Hypnotism Act. Your posters have to actually state that volunteers who must be aged 18 or over may leave the stage at any time. Prior to this particular video review, I did, as far back as August 2021, do a detailed review of the advertising for the How to Control Minds kit. And I feel it's worthy that we have a look at that from August the 25th, 2021, and I read it here so it makes sense. This covers why, you know, warning, the dangers of how to control minds. Caution, hypnosis techniques can cause real dangers. Beware falling foul of licensing and or safety laws. I thought long and hard before posting this, as I know that, firstly, many will just dismiss this as some clever submersive marketing angle to help sales of the new How to Control Minds product from Peter Turner and the Illusionist. That it is most certainly not, I can 100% assure you, and indeed that fact should become clear very shortly. Secondly, some will claim this is only being posted so I can plug some of my own products. Whilst it is true that some of my products are linked to below, that is only because nobody else offers anything close, not even remotely close to the context of what those particular items teach, as will become clearer when viewed in context of the entire post. Thirdly, some, especially those who already take delight in posting lies and fabricated defamatory bullshit about me on the internet, are likely to inaccurately claim that this post was or is made through some kind of jealousy or envy rather than the real motive of safety and protection of the general public and the hypnosis industry in general. So before I explain why extreme caution should be observed by those who have or do purchase the How to Control Minds kit, please let me point out that personally I consider Peter Turner a friend and respected colleague, and as illustrated at the next link, I have absolutely nothing but praise for his previous Illusionist box set entitled How to Read Minds. And you can go to that link and sure enough you will see that I say buy it, because the How to Read Minds set is immaculate. However, back to How to Control Minds. Indeed, Peter has also in the past been kind enough to speak highly about some of my mentalism creations available from all major magic dealers, as per this quote. Having watched Jonathan Royle's Egg Sausage Pea Show, I can honestly say it's unique, with psychic belly button reading being the main hook of the first half around which the mind reading experiments are presented. This is most definitely not your conventional kind of mentalism show. However, Royle has some unique, creative and entertaining takes on such classics as the chair test, Akan, Hoy's tossed out deck and the Russian roulette plot, which are certainly worth a closer look and take them to the next level. At times he had the audience on the edge of their seats, and overall this show was top notch. Peter the Perceptionist Turner. Hopefully that link illustrates the only motive for this post is to make a few things clear, that the advertising for this new mind control set does not make clear, certainly not as yet, around midday on 25th of August 2021 on either the Kickstarter page as shown or the Illusionist page. Some important things to consider about this set. Number one, the legal requirement of licenses. In England and some other countries, a licence or written permission is required from the local licensing authority for the use of any form of hypnosis or suggestion intended to influence for entertainment purposes at any location. In England, this is regulated by the 1952 Hypnotism Act, and yes, suggestion used by magicians and mentalists is also to the letter of the law covered by this Act and its amendments, along with the 1989 government guidelines, 1996 updated model conditions, and of course elements of the Licensing Act 2003. In any event, despite many uneducated types posting differently over the years, street hypnosis or suggestion for entertainment is indeed illegal in England without the correct permission or licence being in place for the location you are giving the performance in. And yes, that does include on the street and in many public places, licensed bars, etc., etc., as illustrated by the proof I've obtained from the legal departments of the majority of UK council licensing districts at this link. I'll mention more about that link later. Incidentally, it is not just England that has such laws. There are other places around the world where hypnosis or suggestion for entertainment requires a licence or permission to be in place, or in some places it is actually considered to be completely banned and illegal. 2. Correct insurance must be in place to be legal. Such licences or permission, as mentioned in point 1 above, will only ever be granted to perform legally when the correct insurance cover is in place, which must include cover for the volunteers in case they suffer any psychological or physical damage or harm during or after their involvement, which can be shown to be due to or a side effect of participating in the use of hypnosis or suggestion. Standard entertainers insurance is not enough, and a specialist, more expensive policy clearly stating that it covers the volunteers whilst they are under the influence of hypnosis or suggestion and are also covered for any side effects which may occur is what is required to be fully covered legally and lawfully in many areas of the world, certainly in England. 3. Detailed written risk assessments must be in place before performances are carried out. Usually for permission to perform to be granted and for any insurance policy to remain valid, a detailed written risk assessment for the intended activities should have been prepared prior to the performance and submitted to the relevant authorities where required. Also, a site and location specific on the spot risk assessment must be undertaken and the findings and conclusions ideally recorded in writing as soon afterwards as possible in case any future after the event claim for physical or psychological damage by any of the volunteers was ever to be claimed. This is an area that experienced health and safety consultant, magician, mentalist and trained hypnotist Stuart Harrison Cassells teaches in great depth, along with stuff from me in the transparency template training videos which are available from all major magic dealers as an instant download. 4. The safety of the actual volunteers. Whether you call it hypnosis or suggestion, as the Peter Turn How to Control Minds kit adverts does, the fact is hypnosis is suggestion and vice versa, when you truly understand the subject. And like it or not, suggestion, aka hypnosis, can in some cases prove to be very dangerous indeed. God help you if or when you encounter a spontaneous abreactions occurring or accidentally pick the wrong person because you did not follow all of the health and safety, duty of care and legal guidance, the type of which is taught in the transparency template, and also available as an instant download from all major magic dealers. There are good reasons why UK laws, and some other places, states that, for example, schizophrenics should not be used as volunteers. But how many magicians or mentalists using just a little suggestion in their acts actually ever bother to check out the volunteer's medical history in this context, despite such being a legal requirement under British law? There are actually numerous potential very real dangers to the volunteers on both a physical and psychological level. Doing a drop-back induction in a crowded, close proximity to people in a non-ticketed, non-advertised, non-licensed event is potentially extremely dangerous. And I hate to say it, but the video clip at point 8 of the Kickstarter page is a prime example of where, close proximity-wise, not to do such techniques. The video used at point 10 on Kickstarter for Peter's Midas Touch illustrates incompetence, as nobody should ever be positioned and stood as close to the edge of a pavement or sidewalk as the person who has their eyes closed and is feeling the touches in that video. Looking at the video in point 6, Robin Hood of the Kickstarter page, I'm fairly confident that person giving their stuff over is not 18. Now, as I don't think it was filmed in England, that may not have been illegal where it was filmed, but in England it is illegal to use volunteers under the age of 18 for hypnosis or suggestion for entertainment purposes. The videos for point 2, the force, on the Kickstarter are amongst the most worrying, as clearly random passers-by are being trusted to catch the person who is knocked over by suggestion. And that is something that is extremely high risk when you don't know the people. which state of mind they are in, and a whole bunch of other factors. It is something easily made much safer by doing it slightly differently and catching them yourselves, as I demonstrate in this video, which I'll show you in a minute. Beware misleading advertising claims. On the Kickstarter point 1, the try principle states that it is a technique with unlimited possibilities. Seriously, make people unable to lift a pen out of their own hand. Stop them from saying their own name. Stick their feet to the floor. Any single hypnotic feat you've ever seen, you can replicate easily with this technique. True fact. In the video at that link, Peter claims he devised the try principle, which is most certainly not the case, as it was devised, most say, by Emile Coué, who died on July the 2nd, 1926. It was actually around way before he ever lived. So there is certainly nothing new in the suggestion power of and use of the word try in this context. Furthermore, any other clever psychological use of the word try has already been fully covered for entertainment purposes in various videos and books that I have had out for many, many years, including Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed, available from all major magic dealers. Details at that link. And yes, Peter Turner has indeed previously seen such contents of that book. For the record, everything you see me do in this video, along with versions of pretty much almost everything taught in the Illusionist How to Control Minds package, along with tons of stunts, techniques and routines that they do not teach in the Illusionist set, can easily be performed successfully within minutes of having read the book and video set mentioned at the above link and also available here. Why do I feel qualified to comment? Well, in short, I originally taught the vast majority or later mentored, coached or advised far more of the truly successful working stage hypnotists around the world, and also magicians and mentalists who use just a little bit of suggestion and hypnosis within their acts than any other living hypnosis trainer. A few examples being the testimonials located at those links. You will note that one of the people I originally taught is British stage hypnotist Chris Lee, who is one of the main people Peter Turner has ever studied stage hypnosis techniques with, as well as obviously from me over a decade ago, from the videos I sent him when he asked me for them via Facebook Messenger. Screenshots on file. Also, it's true to say that I've been the behind-the-scenes advisor and consultant on many hypnosis and suggestion-style television and media projects around the world over the past almost 30 years, including those featuring some of the biggest names in our industries in the world. In short, this is an area I know inside out from decades of real-world experience, and when it comes to the health and safety, duty of care and legal considerations surrounding hypnosis and suggestions in entertainment, I've done more research than perhaps anybody else, and certainly established pros around the world consider me the go-to expert on such matters, as illustrated by comments such as the transparency template are the only stage hypnosis DVDs I would recommend, Ray Ronson. And others that you can see. You can read them on screen there. And here, you get the idea. Basically, established pros saying transparency template should be your must-study thing. The bottom line of this entire post, by all means go and buy the How to Control Minds kit by Peter Turner if you're one of his many fans, but please do some research into the areas I've highlighted above before you ever perform anything of this nature in public or private. I cannot stress enough that there are very real dangers to using even suggestive pseudo-hypnotic methods which still come under certain laws in many places, and there is only one resource on the market that adequately and extensively covers all such matters, and that is the transparency template as per the video you're about to see. It's also available from all major magic dealers. Simple as that. Remember, the safety of your volunteers and abiding by all relevant laws should be your first priority. I posted this on Facebook and tagged Peter Turner, so you know, I always say things directly to people's faces, and that's why I tagged him, on August the 25th, 2021, and this video that I've done now and released was filmed on the 17th of March 2022, after I've had time to actually obtain and watch the How to Read Minds kit. So in a nutshell, you can learn more by buying the transparency template, Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed, and Ghost Kiss Psychokinetic Touches from myself, Jonathan Royle, from the links above or below this video for less money, and you'll learn all the stuff to enable your completely lawful legal license, insured and safe. One other thing I suggest you do, go on Google, type in "Is Street Hypnosis Illegal?" under 1952 Hypnotism Act WordPress, search for that, and you will find, second or third down, my clear Thoughts, Mentalism, Hypnosis, WordPress blog page with a post from the 9th of July 2012. We click on that and it will take you to that from July the 9th, 2012. And the post is called, "Does the 1952 Hypnotism Act apply to street hypnosis in England? Is street and stage hypnosis illegal? How can I perform 100% legally, lawfully, ethically, safely and in an insured manner, anytime, any place, anywhere, even in towns, cities and countries where hypnosis is apparently banned and illegal? Jonathan Royle and friends reveal all in the Transparency Template Home Study course." But as well as that, we go through all different council districts in England, proving that you need to be licensed and insured, unless, of course, you study the Transparency Template. Because on the Transparency Template, you will learn also, as well as health and safety, duty of care, legal licensing, insurance stuff, you'll learn everything you could ever want to know about stage and street hypnosis, both genuine and pseudo hypno tricks. But you will also learn the loopholes in the law that mean you can operate legally and lawfully within the law to be able to safely perform street and stage hypnosis anytime, any place, anywhere, including places in the world where it's apparently banned or you need a license, without needing to get a license and without breaking the law, in a manner that is safe, legal, lawful, licensed if needed and insured, but without needing a license. Can we show you the loopholes? Only the Transparency Template will teach you everything you need to know for that. Watch this short video that follows. It's the trailer for the Transparency Template, and then head to the links above or below this video. It's the best investment you'll ever make. So there you have it. To recap in a nutshell, the How to Control Minds kit by Peter Turner, released through Illusionist, is excellently produced. The video quality is amazing. The content is really, really good. However, there's tons of stuff in there that the way it's taught is, frankly, potentially dangerous, for the reasons that are taught fully in the Transparency Template mentioned elsewhere in this video that you can get from me. And when you get it at the same time as getting Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed and also Ghost Kiss, those three items together will give you pretty much everything that's in How to Control Minds. And indeed, you'll notice that it's pretty much source material for the reasons explained herein. And a whole bunch of other stuff besides, most importantly, teaching you exactly how to do things in a safe, legal, lawful, licensed and fully insured manner, where you do not potentially invalidate your insurance and where your audience members are always totally safe. You'll know fully how to deal with real reactions to real hypnosis and also to pseudo-hypnosis, and you'll learn pretty much everything that you would in the How to Control Minds kit, but also a ton of other stuff besides, and you'll save yourself money into the bargain, and you'll know that you'll truly learn how to be safe, legal, licensed and insured. And you'll learn all the stuff I taught Chris Lee years ago that he's also then passed on and taught Pete Turner over the years, as well as all the stuff that I taught Pete Turner by way of training videos that I sent him well over a decade ago, when he admitted to me at the time he knew little if anything about hypnosis, and he studied a bunch of my stuff and we communicated over a long period of time. It's all, you'll have everything you need when you get the Transparency Template, Almond's Biggest Secret Revealed and the Ghost Kiss, those three items together. And when you do it via my site and use that discount code in block capitals of WIZARD, WIZARD, you'll get 50% off, thus meaning you'll save in total about £55 United Kingdom sterling on what it would cost you to get the How to Control Mindset. So not only will you get more, and be able to be legal, licensed, lawful, insured, and above all else safe, but you'll also save money. As a side note, I will also put a link in here to a Facebook post where you will see that in terms of Pete's previous release, How to Read Minds, I consider that, and still do, to be the most comprehensive, best value for money, beginners and even up to advanced level training set in mentalism and mind reading, and unreservedly recommend it. But in terms of my ultimate bottom line review of how to control minds, for various reasons, including the lack of detail on health and safety, duty of care, legal licensing matters, insurance matters, and a whole bunch of other things, I can't recommend it, because you can learn all the stuff that's in that set, plus a bunch of stuff besides, as well as the most important stuff: safety, legal stuff, lawful stuff, licensing, insurance, and a whole bunch of other related stuff, by following the advice of going to my site and saving money at the same time.